Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks for today. We're talking Wednesday, December 10th. Happy Wednesday, everybody. The Splash Zone is back in your life. I'm only going to have two NBA player prop picks for you guys to lock in, mostly because it's a light slate. We only have two games today: Suns versus Thunder, Spurs versus Lakers. These are for the NBA Cup quarterfinals for the west side of the bracket, which is why we only had two games yesterday and only two games tonight. Speaking of yesterday, ended up being a pretty good day overall. We were up a little bit less than a unit. Really frustrating. We cashed out both of our plays in the Heat versus Magic. I got to admit, it was a little bit lucky cashing Davion Mitchell. He had 4 early assists in the first quarter, so I thought that one was looking pretty. And then halfway through the fourth quarter, or maybe 8 minutes left, he only had 5 assists. I chalked that one up to an L, was doing other things, and then the game ended, and I just wanted to check the box scores, and I noticed he got all the way up to 9. So he had 4 late assists in the fourth quarter when that game was kind of out of hand. So that one maybe you can call a little bit lucky. But this Mitchell Robinson loss just haunted my dreams. We had the dream scenario. He came in earlier than he normally does in the first quarter because Karl Anthony Towns got 2 quick fouls because that's what Cat does. And the Raptors just could not miss. They scored 39 points in the first quarter. There was just no rebounds for Mitchell Robinson to get, and the Knicks couldn't miss either. So he couldn't even get an offensive rebound. So he only got 1. I was really confident that this was going to hit. It was just devastating that it didn't come through. Only the second time all year he did not get at least 2 first quarter rebounds. And I just got to be honest with everybody. I'm probably going to play this next Knicks game, which is going to be against the Magic. Just going to be completely upfront with you. It will probably be a play, just to warn everybody. But either way, even if you didn't end up laddering that play, you were up 1.5 units. If you did end up laddering it, you were up about a unit. So still a good day overall. It could have been really good if Mitchell Robinson came through. We're still working our way back on the green on the year. I'm going to say that for a while because I say we, but it was me. Put ourselves in such a hole that it's going to be a little bit before we're able to get to the green on the year. But it was nice to have a profitable day yesterday, and then we also had a profitable day on Monday. Granted, very slightly in the green, but hey, still made money. So as for today, as I mentioned, we got 2 games here: Suns versus Thunder, Spurs, Lakers. I'll just go in order of the games. I only have 2 official plays, one on each game, each for plus money. So we go 1-1. We're at least in a little bit of the green. And then I'll go through my leans at the end of the day, or end of the video as well. The play that I ended up officially locking in here was Royce O'Neal. So I took him 3+ made 3-pointers, which is actually now plus 122. It was plus 120 on BetMGM when I locked it in. You can now get plus 122 at FanDuel. I would take either one of these prices. I would take a better price than I got, and I would still take plus 120. I was really heavily debating between his threes and his points, and I was in this exact same scenario, if for those of you that remember, with Max Christie last week. I ended up settling on his threes. That ended up being the wrong decision because he hit his points, but not his threes. I know I'm going back and doing the same thing again. But one thing that I do want to point out is that he's gone over 3+ made 3-pointers, so he's hit 3 or more threes in 18 of 24 games. His over/under point prop is 8.5, which he has also hit in 18 of 24 games. And there has literally not been a single game this year, not one, where he did not make 3 or more threes, but scored 9 points. Every single time he scored under 9 points, he hit 2 or fewer threes. And I can show you this on Props Madness. I'm just looking at every single game in which he made 2 or fewer threes. Literally every single time he made 2 or fewer, he went under 9 points. And if you look at the opposite, every single game, this is just how math works. I don't know if you guys know this, but every single time he made 3 threes, he scored more than 9 points. So I think the value on the threes is significantly better for Royce O'Neal. You look at his shot chart, only 10% of his points come from inside the arc. The other 90% come from either the corners or the above the break 3-pointer. So I think it makes more sense going with his threes, even though it seems scarier because, again, there's just been no scenario in which he hasn't made 3 but scored 9 points. Now, 18 of 24 games is a very good hit rate. 75% of the time for something that we're getting at plus 122 or plus 120 odds is really good. But it goes deeper than that. It's not just based off the hit rate. It's based off the matchup. And the Thunder I mean, they have the best defense in the NBA. The Thunder are absolutely incredible. There's really only one area in which I'm not even going to say they're weak, but it's because it's by design. But there's one area in which they are okay giving up points, and it's to spot up shooters, and it's to catch and shoot shooters. If you look at like how they rank, the only area in which they're not one of the best defenses in the NBA is guarding catch and shoot 3-pointers. They allow, according, this is again showing you data from the NBA on Props Madness, but they allow the 7th most points per game via catch and shoot 3-pointers. They allow the 8th most points per game to spot up shooters. Everything else, I mean, number one in transition. Pick and roll ball handler, they're technically 17th, but they're really, really good at guarding point guards. Top 5 in terms of points allowed via free throws. Like, they just don't allow a lot of points aside to these spot up shooters. And over the last month, like this data is giving you the entire year. Even over the last month, they're still a good matchup for catch and shoot guys. Like these are 3-point attempts, catch and shoot, I should say, 3-point attempts over the last 10 games. So basically the last month or so. And you see them here allowing the 7th most. Now you look at the Suns, they have a lot of guys who play off ball, but who actually takes the most catch and shoot 3-pointers is Royce O'Neal. I'm looking at the Phoenix Suns. 6 3-point attempts, catch and shoot. That's the most on the team. Now, technically, Jalen Green makes more, but he only played 2 games with them, so he doesn't really count. So it's Royce O'Neal. And then even if you look at the last 10 games, so let's look at a similar segment. If we're looking at the last 10 games here, you're going to see Royce O'Neal as soon as this decides to load. You're going to see Royce O'Neal still at number 1. So no matter what time frame you look at, he takes and makes the most catch and shoot threes on the Suns. And you look at, like, I mean, he's gone over in 18 of 24 games. It's not just because of injuries. Like, let's look at games with Grayson Allen, who's missed some time, with Dylan Brooks, who's missed some time, over in 7 of 10 games just with those 2. Let's add in Devin Booker, who's currently questionable, over in 6 of 8 with all 3 of those guys in. You want to look at Grayson Allen and Dylan Brooks in and Devin Booker off. It's been 2 games over in 1 of 2. So it's really hard to make any sweeping judgments out of 2 games because it's only 2 games. And then one of those games he went over. The other one he went under. The Rockets have a pretty good spot up defense. If you look at how they rank versus spot up. I mean, so do the Timberwolves, to be honest with you. They're number 1 and the Rockets are top 10. That's not what it's like going up against the Thunder, who we all know are like a bottom 10 matchup. Top 10 for our purposes. And to show you, like, let's look at Royce O'Neal. We're taking out the top 10 defenses guarding spot up shooters. So we're only looking at the bottom 2/3 of the league, over in 13 of 16 games. Let's look at how teams guard catch and shoot 3-pointers. You can look at opponent rank versus catch and shoot on Props Madness as soon as I find it. We need to look at opponent rank versus catch and shoot. And that's right here, opponent rank versus catch and shoot. Same thing here. We're just taking out the top 10 defenses, only looking at the bottom 2/3. 13 of 15 games against teams in the bottom 10 of both of these categories, he's made 3 or more threes. So I know I've gone a ton talking about Royce O'Neal, and I'm probably belaboring the point, but I just kind of want to show you everything that I'm looking at when I'm deciding to make this play, that it's not thrown together. I did try to look at all this stuff. And even if the Thunder are a good defense, I think this is a good matchup. Moving on. Next game, the Spurs versus Lakers. Super square. I'm going right back to Luka, and I'm taking him 35 plus. That's at plus 124 at FanDuel is the best offered price on this play. I took Luka last game against the Sixers. He did not go over, and I feel comfortable going right back to him. This game against the Sixers, he had like 29, I think, points heading into the 4th quarter, and LeBron just took over the 4th. I mean, there was at one point at the end of the game, LeBron scored 10 straight points. LeBron's not scoring nearly as much this year. I mean, in his 7 games back, he's only gone over 18.5 in 2 of them. Luka is scoring more often than not. It just didn't end up being the case against the Sixers, but I think it is going to be the case against the Spurs. I mean, you look at him on the year, he's gone 35 plus in 10 of 17 games. You look at games with LeBron, 4 of 6, he scored 35 plus points. Games with LeBron and Austin Reeves, same thing, 4 of 6 games. So it's not like his scoring is down at all with LeBron in. It just happened to be the game against the Sixers that when I took him, that Luka did not score 35 plus. But I feel really good about going right back to him. The Spurs, if you look at them on the year, this is over the entire season guarding point guards, which, Luka is a point forward basically, but he handles the ball the most, so I track him as a point guard, and so do most sites. Spurs allow the 7th most points per game to point guards, but they've gotten worse as the season has gone on. So I'm looking here over the last month, the last 30 days, and you can see that they've actually allowed the 2nd most points per game to point guards over the last 30 days. So they have gotten worse as the season has gone on. Probably makes sense because Wemby has missed the last month, so that's probably has a lot to do with it. And from a play type perspective, it might look a little bit scary, like, oh, they don't allow a lot to the pick and roll, free throws, isolation, transition, but they allow a ton of pull-ups, literally the 3rd most pull-up shots in the entire NBA. And nobody, I'm talking nobody, takes more pull-ups than Luka Doncic. I'm looking at pull-up shots over, I'm going to look at the entire year, then I'll look at the last 10 games. And I don't want to just look at Phoenix. I want to look at the entire NBA. Guess who takes the most pull-up field goals in the NBA? Luka. Guess who makes the most? Luka. Guess who takes the most pull-up threes? Luka. Guess who makes the most? Actually, that's not Luka. It's actually, I think, Steph Curry. But, I mean, Luka is a killer in these pull-up shots, which is what the Spurs give up. So there's a reason why they're giving up a ton of points to point guards, because a lot of point guards are more pull-up guys than catch and shoot. A lot of off-ball guys are catch and shoot. That's not normally the point guard position. So 4 of 7 guys playing his position have gone over. One very similar, which is only one, but it's Anthony Edwards. He went over against the Spurs. They did get some guys healthy back, Stephon Castle and their guard, Dylan Harper, but I don't really think that's going to impact Luka Doncic and his scoring, those 2 guys being back. So I like him to score 35 plus points a lot. Those are my only 2 plays for the day. And I know people comment that I'm out of breath. I just talk too much and I don't give myself time to breathe. But it's Luka 35 plus points, plus 124 at FanDuel. Royce O'Neal, 3+ made threes, plus 120 BetMGM. You can actually get a better price, plus 122 at FanDuel, but I only track what I send out to my Tails account because it's only fair, because odds are going to change both good and bad, and I'm not always going to track whatever. You know what I mean? In terms of leans, there were like 4 plays I was debating in the Suns versus Thunder game, and I just couldn't decide which one to play. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander points. I mean, over 31.5. He's only hitting 11 of 23 games. You want to know why? He never plays in the 4th quarter. He scores 30 points in the first 3 quarters, and then he sits. It's kind of remarkable that he's scored 30 points in 19 of 23 games, but only 31.5 points in 11, which means that, 8 separate times he's landed on exactly 30 or 31 points. The matchup actually isn't that good against the Suns, who do a good job guarding the pick and roll ball handler. They don't allow a lot of pull-ups. It also doesn't matter. He played the Suns once this year, scored 37 points. It really is. Is the game close? Then Shai will go over this number. And the spread is 14.5. Last time these 2 teams played, the Suns played them pretty hard. The Thunder only won by 4, and he had to play in the 4th quarter. He played 36 minutes. But you look at him this year. So he's played 23 games. How many times has he played 35 or more minutes? Only 9 times. And if he doesn't play that, he's not going over. And you're basically betting on, is this game close or not? I have no idea, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable taking Shai. You could take him 30 plus, but you're paying like minus 150, which sometimes people play that, and that's fine. I don't like to play those odds, but other people do. I also looked at Aaron Wiggins, who I think is just too low, even in games in which Jalen Williams is back. He's gone over in 3 of 4 games. One gross game with only 5 points, but other than that, 11, 11, and 19. I thought this might be getting a little too cute, the matchup. I mean, the Suns' defense is better than people think. They don't really have a spot in which they're weak. So there's not like, oh, you target this against the Suns' defense. I just think this is too low on Aaron Wiggins. And then on the Suns side, it was actually 2 unders I was debating. Devin Booker, his first game back from a groin injury. The odds on his point prop are plummeting. They opened up at 22.5. Now you can only get a pretty grossly juiced under 21.5 or 20.5. He scored a lot at the beginning of the year, but after his first 17 games, he's only scored 22 or more points in 5 of 13. The Thunder defense are incredible. They're phenomenal. We all know how good their defense is. I mean, Booker scored 21 points, so he came really close, but he's also missed he's missed 10 days coming out from a groin injury. Is he going to come back and play normal minutes? Is he even going to play? But it would be an under on Devin Booker. And then the last play that I was debating, and then I'll get on out of here, was the under rebounds for Mark Williams. The Thunder defense, they allow the 4th fewest rebounds per game to centers, according to Props Madness. If you look at hashtag NBA and look over the last month, they're a little bit of a better matchup. I mean, instead of allowing the fourth fewest, they're like whatever, eighth or ninth down here. You look at Fantasy Pros, and this is looking at the entire year, third fewest. So either way, they're a bad matchup for center rebound props. And if you look at Mark Williams and you look at how he has performed and just take out the top 10 matchups, he's only gone over in 6 of 15 games, over 7.5, which we're getting at plus money. What scared me off, and maybe I shouldn't care too much about this, he played the Thunder, the same game that we're talking about. He had 14 rebounds in that game. He had 18 rebound chances. So even if he's not going to get 14 of 18, he can get 10 of 18. Now you can say maybe he's not going to have 18 rebound chances again. You know, the Thunder just had a bad shooting game. They shot under 50%. If you think this game is going to be a blowout, there's not going to be as many rebound chances for Mark Williams. But maybe he just, like, you know, there's no Isaiah Hartenstein, I should say, on the Thunder side. So maybe there's just somebody less, not like somebody that Mark Williams doesn't have to fight with for a rebound. So maybe he has a better rebounding day. I couldn't quite get there with his rebounds. So I'm just rocking with these two plays. And that's all we got. So I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to bet responsibly and have a good one.